Hello guys, and welcome to your third tutorial in this Visual Basic Learning series. In this tutorial we're going to be learning about declaring variables, and another thing I want to get into is how to change the name of this form. I know people are still seeing form 1 up there, and that's very unprofessional if you left that after you made your program. So this is pretty essential. First thing we're going to do is click on the form, and this should select the properties of this form. If you click on the button, it'll select the properties of the button. The label, etc., it'll all select the properties of what you click on. So make sure when you're clicking on it, you click on just the form itself. And this should load the properties down here. And we're going to scroll down to text, and you should see form 1 in there, and we're going to erase that, and we're going to put tutorial 3, or you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't really matter, but that's how you change the name. Now we're going to get into declaring the variables, and click on the design, or we're going to go into the code window, and that's just this little button up here. You just click it and it should load this right up. Okay, the first thing in declaring a variable is you type dim, and there's other ways to start this out with, but we're going to go over dim first, and we're going to do int, which this is the initials for integer, and you'll understand what integer is in just a second. And we're going to name it amount, and then we're going to go as, we're saying int amount as integer. And what that means, all this we're going to start from the beginning. Dim means to reserve space basically in this program for this variable. And what this is the name of your variable, and usually whenever you're naming a variable, you don't include you always include int before what you're declaring, or the name of it, because it's a lot easier to find your integers whenever you have like a bunch of other types of data types like doubles and strings. It's a lot easier to just declare the first three letters in the name of it as what type of data type it is. Now this right here will be a data type. It's integer, basically it's basically a number. So basically all this right here is saying is the reserve space for this variable right here. We're naming this this variable as a number, so we're reserving space for int amount, which is a number. So we're reserving space for this number, reserving space. And now we're going to go into constants. And what a constant is basically a number that cannot change in the entire program at all. You can't edit it at all in the program while it's running. And this would be described as constant. And we're going to name this int testing constants as integer. And what this does, now it's just making another integer named int testing constants as an integer, so it's a number, and this number cannot change through the entire program whatsoever, and we'll test out why it cannot change, because it's just a rule. And now we're going to work on editing these things. We're going to start out with int amount plus equal to 1, and now we're going to plus equal to 1 because this is an increment. We're going to increment every time you click this button. This is saying when you click this, add 1 to the integer int amount. So now it's going from 0 to 1. And now we're going to add 1 to int testing constants plus equal to 1. Both things are the same way, but right now we don't really need this. But I was just showing you can do the same thing for the other integer. And now we're going to display what we're adding up, which we'll go over here into the design window. And remember that label we created in the last tutorial. It's right here somewhere. It's pretty invisible because we removed the text property. But we're going to go back into the design window, code window, and we're going to display what int amount holds, which will be me label. And then we're going to go output total, which is the name of the label. I don't know what you named it, but you can probably make another one if you forget. Equals int amount, but the text of label is equal to what int amount holds, which will be what we declared up here. And this error up here, it's saying that you have to give a value to a constant because it's staying the same anyways. So we'll get into that more in depth soon. But what you do after, when you're declaring a constant, you just put equals and whatever you want it to equal to. You can equal it to anything up to like 2 point something billion, 2.147. It's a big number. That's pretty much what how high an integer can go. And then if you put a negative on that big number, that's pretty much how low it can go. And we're just gonna exit this out for right now, or comment. We're gonna comment it out, and that just deletes. It pretty much says don't read this if we put that apostrophe symbol there. And we're gonna run this and test now, and it should increment a number. It should increment by 1 every time you click it. And that's pretty much all in integers. And now we're going to learn about doubles, which is just dim dbl amount as double. And I'm probably almost out of time, but I'm going to just go over this pretty quickly. Double is basically a decimal. That's pretty much all it is. It's saying this dim, reserve enough space for this double. It's just a decimal, and I'll show you the difference between an integer and a decimal or a double. We're gonna go dbl amount, let's see, plus equal to 1.5, and then we're gonna make this 1.5, and we're just gonna comment that out for a second because we'll get back to that. And this is gonna be dbl amount. That's just saying we're gonna display dbl amount. Now we're gonna run this, and every time you click this, it should go by a decimal. Now you're saying, why can't you just do that with an integer? Well, what an integer does is it rounds the number. So what you're going to get now, whenever you change this and display int amount, you're going to get, it's just going to round the number up to 2, and it's just going to increment every time by 2. Now, if you wanted to change how much this thing increments from 1 to 2, you would change 1 from 2 and then from 3, which would you could add all the buttons and make this do 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to go through every single one of those. That's pretty much all for this tutorial, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, and good night.